We're taking on the case of the 27 suspended LG chairman in Imo State. Now, this has been on for months now. I mean, it's something that goes back 2 administrations away in the state. But let's take a look at the issues and see how we can move forward with this one. And this morning we have joining us from our Bachu studio, Honorable Mbachu, who's the executive chairman, Isialambana local government area of Imo State, and Inaya Onuegbu as well, the commissioner for lands, Imo State, is a legal practitioner. Interestingly, a former local government chairman. He also joins us from our Bachu studio. We'll also be joined by Matthias Emerbe, who's a legal practitioner and the publicity secretary of Imo Progressive Lawyers Association. He will be joining us via Zoom this morning. But gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program. Well, Honorable Mbachu, yeah, it's great to have you. If I can begin with you, this is something that has spanned months. I mean, 3 administrations now, from the administration of Governor Okorocha to Governor Hedioa, now Governor Uzodimma. But still, the impasse persists. Where are we right now? Because, I mean, things happen overnight, right? Has there been any updates to this crisis?
No, I thought they said Honorable Mbachu to take the first shot.
Well, I have to say that as we speak now, we are talking about going back to our offices on the 30th November this year, because we have waited for so long for the government of Imo State, for which we all are part of. I am an APC member, and as we speak, up till now, nothing has happened. But what we are talking about now is the fact that we are talking about the constitutional infraction in Nigeria, that the governors have consistently debased the Constitution of Nigeria. And because of that, what we are talking about is the Constitution. The Constitution, we all know that is a grand norm. And I am saying that because the Constitution is a grand norm, and that because the Constitution has given us the power to go back to our office, because when you look at this section 7.1, everybody knows that it guarantees elected local government council in Nigeria. And the elected local government council in Nigeria must be there at all times. That is what the Constitution guarantees. There is no court of law that can stop elected chairman from going to the office. Let me remind you something. We were elected by, for me personally, from Isialambana, I garnered 28,184 votes in my local government. What it means is that the people elected me. And that was on the 25th of August, 2018. And on the 27th of August, I was sworn in by the governor. The then governor was Governor Rochas Okorocha. And I had a constitutional mandate to represent my people for 3 years. And as we speak, on 7th June 2019, we were removed from our office by the then governor of Imo State. The question
Just clarification, Honorable.
Is there any reason
were you removed? Was it a removal
office?
Or a suspension? Which was it? Because that has been a bone of contention also.
By the then governor. We were suspended from office.
Okay, so it was a suspension.
Hello? We were suspended from office.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yes, we were suspended from office. And what we are saying is that the suspension is illegal. We cannot be talking about rule of law in Nigeria when the Constitution of Nigeria is debased. The Constitution of Nigeria says in section 7.1 that there must be a system of local government administration that must have a local government council that is guaranteed at all times. But what we are seeing today is the brazen disregard to the Constitution. And we know in section 1, subsection 1, that it talks about supremacy of the Constitution. Now we are talking about supremacy of the Constitution. And it's this same Constitution that provides for immunity for the governors. We seek to obey it because there is immunity for them provided by the Constitution. It's this Constitution in section 130 that provides for the fact that there must be a president of this country. Section 131 says that the president of this country must be executive president and he must be commander-in-chief of the armed forces is the constitution. Now, the same constitution in section 7.1 says that there must be a system of local government that must have a democratically elected local government council, and that this system must be guaranteed. But as we speak, the governors have consistently and brazenly disregarded this aspect of the constitution.
Okay, let's get Mr. Onuegbu's opening
why must the
comments
governors
on this.
choose?
Right.
Why
You
must
can
the
land on
governors
that.
choose the section of the constitution to respect?
Okay.
And the
so
one that
let's
does
get
not
Mr.
favor them, they don't
Onuegbu's
respect. But when
opening
it favors
statements
them, they
on
respect.
this so we can broaden the conversation. Now, this is something that your administration inherited in court, but you have made your position known. For your administration, you want to conduct fresh elections, but he has quoted the Constitution. They're leaning on two court judgments, the Supreme Court's judgment and the Federal High Court's judgment. But still, your administration says, well, we're moving forward to conduct fresh elections. How so?
Very much. I think it would be better to lay some background to this situation. In 1999, Governor Achiku Denwa, then governor, had a local government elected administration in line with Section 7.1 of the Constitution. That administration lasted for 3 years, and there was an interim where they had a transition committee for 1 year before another election that ushered in a democratically elected local government in Imo State. When Governor Chike was leaving, he instituted, when that tenure expired, a transition committee, which Governor Hakim inherited and subsequently reappointed. Governor Hakim conducted a local government election, which brought my team in. I'm on this program because I am an interested party in the election Governor Hakim conducted. I'm happy they cited the case of Onuegbu and 26 others. I am the Onuegbu. Now, when Governor Hakim lost election, we were already in office 9 months, 10 months plus. Governor Rochas, Etebatana Yokorocha, or popularly called Rochas, took over on the 29th of May, 2019. On 6th of June, 2019, he unilaterally dissolved the subsisting elected local government administration. That was the first time in Imo history a democratically elected local government was being dissolved. We went to court, ended up obtaining a Supreme Court of Appeal judgment restoring us to the office. He resisted it by every manner of arrangement, including allowing some of the persons who now claim to be local government chairmen to go to the local government as thugs and occupy to prevent us from having access. He also claimed that our tenure was for 2 years, that there was an amendment of the local government law. Now we went to the court again to get our 3-year tenure and to recover the 13 months he kept us out. He resisted it until he served out 8 years in Imo State. He did not bother to conduct local government election until about 8 months to his departure, when he discovered that APC, his party, would allow delegates who are councillors, chairmen, and sundry appointees of the local government as delegates to elect a governorship candidate, which incidentally he had agreed by himself would be his son-in-law. So he now breached the local government law. Instead of using the ward system we have in our state, he made every autonomous community a ward to produce councillor, thereby attempting to produce 636 councillors in Imo State, 27 local government chairmen, 27 vice chairmen, secretaries of local government, supervisors of local governments, so that they will have sure votes to elect his son-in-law in the primaries of APC. That was why that election went on without any notice by ISEC. That was why he did not constitute an election tribunal to hear disputes that will arise from that election. That was why those people were sworn in 2 days after the purported election. That was why there were no other political parties participating. That was why political parties that went to court and civil society groups that went to court were stifled, and the election went on, embracing disregard to the pending court cases, embracing disregard to my case.
I appreciate the background which you have given,
now,
but you've also not. I understand, but you've also not talked about the Owerri Federal High Court judgment. But we'll go on a break now. When we return, we'll take a look at these issues that you have raised in a moment. Please stay with us. You're welcome back. Now, Mr. Onuegbu, I was asking about the High Court, the Federal High Court's judgments that the 27 local government chairmen are leaning on. They say that, well, they got a judgment. They also referred to the Supreme Court judgment about Ekiti State. And they're saying, well, this is what the law says. How hard is it for this government to obey that court judgment. What do you have to say about that?
Thank you very much. Let us, the judgment you are talking about is a judgment of a case they commenced even before the administration of the defunct administration of Governor of Ihedioha even took the resolution by the Imo State House of Assembly asking that they be suspended. Under the local government law, the Imo State House of Assembly has jurisdiction to investigate the local governments, which was what was started under Ihedioha. These gentlemen went to court trying to stop the House of Assembly from performing its legislative roles. And eventually the House of Assembly recommended for their suspension, and the then governor implemented that recommendation. They went to the Federal High Court against those who were appointed as TC chairmen to superintend over the affairs of the local government while the inquiry by the House of Assembly lasted. They neglected to appear before the House of Assembly because those who were sponsoring them believed that they were stronger than the House of Assembly. Now, when the court, that Federal High Court, they went to against those people in occupation of the offices, continued hearing the matter. Eventually, the Ihedioha administration was sacked by the Supreme Court. Now, without doing anything else, they continued with that case and ended up getting a judgment against those who had left office more than 4 or 5 months before that time. And in the last paragraph of the judgment, the court, in an effort to grant reliefs not sought, now mentioned those who had been appointed by Governor Hope Uzodimma to superintend over the affairs of the local government. Parties who were not sued, parties who were not served any court process. Now, those persons have gone on appeal and filed an appeal against that judgment that went
just a moment, Mr. Onuegbu. I'm wondering how this whole thing comes to play. Just a moment. A judgment has been given by a court, and it is about certain institutions, not individuals. Do we have to call back the people who are no longer in office to execute a judgment that's supposed to be executed by an institution and not certain individuals? Does the fact that a governor has been ousted, just a moment, does the fact that a governor has been ousted, does it defeat or nullify the relevance of the court judgments?
When the judgment goes to give orders against persons who were not sued, those persons have a right to go on appeal, and they have gone on appeal and obtained the stay of execution. It has nothing to do with the governor. It's a judicial process that must flow to the end. And when you have submitted to a judicial process, you cannot resort to self-help. Every Nigerian has a right of protection under the law, under the Constitution. And if a person has gone on appeal, and the Court of Appeal and the court that gave that judgment has stayed that execution of that judgment, you can no longer start talking about enforcement until you're able to win the case at the appeal court or at the Supreme Court, as the case may be. That was what Okorocha did to my team. And that was why we kept quiet until he exhausted his tenure. So it is not a sympathetic thing. It is not a matter of sentiment. It's a matter of allowing the due process to flow. When Okorocha was there, we all were complaining that he didn't obey due process. Now, Governor Uzodimma is there obeying due process, and they want to go to the self-help. They want to go to the field. They want to cause a riotous situation. They want to breach the peace of Imo State on 30th of November. Who is paying the piper? Who is
Honorable Bachu. Honorable Bachu. Now, hearing
the crisis was
hearing Mr. Onuegbu saying that, well, those parties have gone to court and they've gotten a stay of execution regarding that judgment that was given by the Federal High Court. Is that new to you? Does that change your plan to still resume office on the 30th of this month?
Well, I want to refer to what the Honorable Commissioner said, but staying Onuegbu. I am happy that what we are enjoying today is a judgment gotten by him and 26 others. And that judgment was delivered by Justice Abaji, who incidentally has been promoted to the Supreme Court. And in one of the reliefs they sought, when I was going through the judgment, relief number 4 hammered basically on their tenure, that their tenure was to last for 2 years. And that they wanted the court to put effect to the fact that their tenure was to last for 2 years. I have the judgment with me here. Now, they got into office on the 8th, or the election was done on the 5th of August, 2010. He is saying that we were hurriedly sworn in. They were sworn in on, the election was done on the 6th of August 2010. And they were sworn in on the 8th of August 2010. Incidentally, that tenure was supposed to expire on the 7th of August 2012 because that tenure was for a two-year term. Now, he is talking about the fact that the House of Assembly, that the tenure was for, that the House of Assembly made a law. But he is a lawyer. He knows the provision of Section 1.3. That Section 1.3 says, any act of House of Assembly or any law that is inconsistent with the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to the extent of that inconsistency, the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall take precedent. He is a lawyer. He knows Section 1.3.
Right.
And it is a decided case by Supreme Court in Nigeria that there is no House of Assembly that should make law that is not going to put the administration of the local government in perspective.
I know. I'm asking.
There will be no abridging of local government
Honorable
administration in
Bachu,
Nigeria.
I'm asking
that
specifically.
Is elite judgment between Samuel Olubimi,
right,
13 others, and Ekiti State government.
Okay, I'm asking specifically if you're aware. I'm asking specifically if you're. Honorable Mbachu, can you hear me?
Any governor has a right to do what.
Honorable Mbachu, can you hear me?
To truncate a local government that is elected by the people.
Right.
Because the Constitution of Nigeria in Section 7.1, they have said it is sacrosanct.
Okay, if I can come in now. I'm asking specifically now about the judgment which you are also leaning on from the Federal High Court Owerri. I'm asking if you are aware that the parties have gone to court to appeal and they got a stay of execution. I'm asking if you're aware and if that has changed your decision or the plan to take office on the 30th of this month. That's what I'm asking about specifically.
Not change our plan. One, because but the parties have failed to let you know. It has not changed our plan. That there is he is saying that there's a stay of execution. It has not changed our plan because he should, as a lawyer, that's what they call judgment in rem. Judgment in rem, there is a judicial pronouncement by the Supreme Court. And we know that there is a trial court, there is a lower court, and there is an apex court. Section 230 of Nigerian Constitution provides for Supreme Court as the apex court. And Section 235 of Nigerian Constitution says that the judgment of Supreme Court is final. That except for a prerogative of mercy, the case of a prerogative of mercy, where the President of Nigeria can grant pardon, state pardon, to a convicted, to a state pardon, even a governor, because of the power they have as executive governor and the President of Nigeria. The Supreme Court has given a judgment, and that judgment is final. So there is no lower court that can talk about an injunction. When I mean that a stay, because there is what they call judgment in rem. The judgment in Ekiti is not different from the judgment. The judgment in Ekiti will be applicable to any state.
Honorable Bachu, so you're not relying on the judgment. You're not relying on the judgment of the Federal High Court anymore because you've not mentioned that.
No, we went to court. What we went to court to do in the Federal High Court was to seek FAC not to release money to illegitimate government. The local government are occupied by ghost workers as we speak. When you go through the judgment delivered by Justice by the judge, Ringim Tijani, he made it clear that he cannot go into a case that has been decided by Court of Appeal. He cannot equally go into a case that has been decided by the Supreme Court. That what he has before him is the fact that he has jurisdiction according to Section 251. The jurisdiction he has is to make law that will bind a federal agency. And we went there to seek for what? That the federal agency should be stopped from giving money to illegitimate occupants of the local government. Because the Supreme Court has said so, that every occupant that is not in line with the Constitution of Nigeria is an aberration. You cannot occupy the local government and the council illegally. The Supreme Court has said it in the case delivered on the 17th of July 2016 17th of December 2016, in a landmark judgment delivered by the Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Chima Saint-Usweze, he made it clear that despite the fact that the House of Assembly were given powers to make laws, but the laws that the powers that the Constitution gave to them is not to make laws is not to make law that will breach an elected local government chairman, elected local government council.
Honorable Mbachu, just a moment, Honorable Mbachu. Let's let's bring this to the commissioner now. Mr. Onuegbu, the facts are also there right before your face as well. The Supreme Court has ruled on this one too many times, and then the Constitution is also very clear about the independence of each tier of the government, the local government inclusive, even though the states have some administrative supervision, oversight over the local government. So that one is there. The Supreme Court has ruled on that. Do you think that this judgment of a lower court supersedes a Supreme Court judgment, which you lawyers say sometimes is like, once that precedent is there, it's like law?
The important thing is for you to appreciate that every case is dealt with on its own circumstances. That the Supreme Court set a guideline.
Even though there is a precedence?
Does not mean that if situation arises in future,
even though there is, are you saying that
that was why they went to court?
Just a moment, Mr. Onuegbu, just a moment.
Yes.
Are you saying that the cases are different even though a Supreme Court judgment already gave a precedence?
Yes, the Supreme Court said nobody is entitled to dissolve an elected local government administration.
Very good.
The Supreme Court gave the House of Assembly authority to legislate for the administration of the local governments. The House of Assembly creates a local government that has a 3-year tenure. Now, the House of Assembly has powers to oversight the local government administration. And the Imo State House of Assembly constituted a committee to oversight the gentleman and his colleagues. They refused to appear, and the Imo State House of Assembly, in line with the law, Local Government Administration Law of Imo State, as amended, made recommendation that the governor then suspend them. They went to court to challenge that process. It is not the same as my case because they were not then asked to go. Now, he talked about 2-year tenure. I don't know. You are intervening. I think you should. I think you should.
Court has given a judgment.
Keep quiet so that I exhaust my point. Now, at what stage did the local government law in Imo State become amended under Okorocha to now create a 3-year tenure he's claiming? There was no amendment. It was always a 3-year tenure law. Now, if you have gone to court and obtained a judgment, and the adverse party elects to list, and the adverse party goes on appeal, and there is a stay of execution of that order, you cannot resort to self-help at all. Secondly, if you want to enforce the judgment of a court, you go back to that court for enforcement, to invoke the powers of the bailiff and the sheriffs of court to enforce a judgment. You don't enforce a judgment by going to resort to force or self-help, to hire thugs, to destroy government property, or to destroy public institutions and breach the peace. So what is important is that my friend should keep quiet and let the due process flow. If he knew...
Mr. Onuegbu, you really haven't answered the question here. Mr. Onuegbu, you have not really, answered the question here. Should that have happened in the first place? That's the question here. The Supreme Court already ruled on this.
The House of Assembly has right to constitute the committee.
But does the House of Assembly have the power to remove some people from office, according to that precedent judgment of the Supreme Court?
No, the House of Assembly recommended that the executive governor then suspend them to allow the inquiry and the conclusion of the inquiry. There was no time their tenure was dissolved or terminated by the House of Assembly or the then governor. What is important is that they went to court, and that due process must be allowed to flow. That is the position. And you have to remember that these are the same people who were campaign coordinators of an AA candidate during governorship election. How can they approbate and reprobate Today you are in APC, tomorrow you are campaigning for AA, the next day you are in APC. People are trying to put reverse gear to things that don't exist, while their vehicle is headed on a different direction.
Okay, gentlemen, here's what we'll do. We'll get Honorable Mbachu's response to that talk about which party, what affiliations he has. But let's see if we can widen this and get a third perspective. We have joining us via Zoom Mr. Matthias Emerbe, who's a legal practitioner. He's also the publicity secretary, Imo Progressive Lawyers Association. Good morning. I'm sure you've been following the conversation. And for a lot of people, they're thinking, isn't this complex? But from where you sit, looking at the merits, if I can use those terms, of this case, is it really that complex?
With due respect, thank you very much for bringing me in. The law remains the law. When the Supreme Court made that pronouncement to the effect that you cannot suspend an elected local government, as it were, what they are saying by implication is that, look, my friend, you cannot approbate and reprobate, because the implication is like what you have in a state presently.
Okay, Mr. Maribel, we seem to be getting a lot of feedback. Not like feedback, but in terms of audio, there's too much feedback. So we'll try to resolve that, and we'll come back to you in a moment. Please, let's work on that. We'll be back to you in a moment. But Honorable Bachu, let me just allow you to respond to some of the issues Mr. Onuegbu raised regarding your party affiliations and some other issues. If you could just go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I want to say is that the Honorable Commissioner here, Barrister Onuegbu, has forgotten that he got a judgment at the Court of Appeal. And he's not saying the truth of all that transpired in Imo State. He got a judgment on the 7th of July, when their tenure was just 21 days to the end of their tenure, because their tenure ultimately was supposed to expire on the 7th of August. And because the then governor, the Governor Richard Okorocha, the then governor of Imo State, because of his nature towards adherence to the rule of law, he never appealed this case. So as we speak, Barrister Onuegbu is saying, as a lawyer that he is, that the court where they got a judgment saying that no governor has power, for which I'm today enjoying, because a court of appeal has ruled on the fact that, not a court of appeal in anywhere apart Imo State. So we have section 2871 that says that any judgment of court of appeal, section 2872, any judgment of court of appeal shall be applicable in any part of this country by all authorities and persons. That is what section 2872 says. But as we speak, we have a judgment we're enjoying, gotten by him and 26 others, that says no governor shall have power to sack elected chairman of Imo State. They did not say Onuegbu. The only thing they said was, because they ordained the local government chairman, that because the constitution has made it clear that section 7.1, the ambiguity of section 7.1 has been resolved by a court of appeal. It's been resolved by a Supreme Court. The ambiguity, which is ultimately created by the governors, believing that because they said that the governors shall have to make laws for the good administration of the local government, they changed it by going to ask the House of Assembly, that is ultimately their lucky, to make laws to go against the constitutional authority of government that is enabled by section 3.6 of the Nigerian Constitution. Section 3.6 of the Nigerian Constitution provides for local government, just like section 2.2 of Nigerian Constitution provides for the states and the capital of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Honorable Bachu, a moment here.
That the House of Assembly has no power to make laws. The House of Assembly made law, and they gave us what they call amendment to the Local Government Administration Law, Law 15, 2000, as amended. It was amended to do what? To change the tenure, which they enjoyed for 2 years. It was amended to 3 years. I have it here. Is he here with me? Now, the same House of Assembly that the Constitution has given power to make laws for the good governance of the local governments, gave the then governor of Imo State power to do what they call autonomous community election. It is
Mbachu, let's get to Mr. Meribe now. Yeah, let's get to Mr. Meribe now. I think we've resolved that audio challenge. So if you can hear me, please go ahead. I mean, you think that this is not really that difficult, is it?
It's not difficult because I hope you can hear me. It's not difficult because by virtue of Section 7(1) of the 1999 Constitution.
Not again, not again. Well, we still have that same challenge, so we'll see if we can resolve that. But let's take this back to our Abuja studio. Mr. Onuegbu, well, he thinks that's Mr. Meribe, judging from his opening comments, he thinks the law is clear on this. And, I mean, for a lot of people in Imo states, they want a resolution. I mean, this back and forth, they would say it's not doing them any good. For the 27 local government chairmen who were elected, they say that people elected them to serve them. Your government is saying, well, we need to conduct something fresh because on one hand, we're not involved in this and, well, there's a judgment. You say there's a stay of appeal, but we still need a resolution. So is the government planning to make any concession, have a discussion with the 27 local government chairmen? I mean, beyond the politics now, let's talk about governance. Is your government planning to make any concession?
Well, the important thing is that we must bear in mind that there's a government in place. When you think there is no government and you think you can draw your powers from elsewhere or your negotiation, you should ask them if they went to court and this matter is pending and they desire a settlement out of court. It is for them to approach the government in power. But when all the feelers we get is the threat, the harassment, the propaganda, I don't think anybody would negotiate under such threatening situation. What is important in Imo is that as of today, the local governments are being administered in Imo State. And there are two claimants. My set as of today is still before the Supreme Court, challenging the purported 2-year tenure my friend is alluding to. He has chosen not to talk about it. The case was pending in the Supreme Court before their purported election. And it was in flagrant disobedience of even the Supreme Court directive that election should not hold. These are matters the then Attorney General Nlemedim came to court at the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that election should not go on because of this pending case. But because they wanted delegates that will vote for them in APC primaries, they rushed through that process during the then strike that was happening in the country. The important thing to note is that the current government is a sensitive government, a due process government, a sympathetic government that will be more ready and willing to look at matters dispassionately. But you should ask yourself, if this local government election was so important, why did the former government of Chief Okorocha not talk with me and my team? Why did he not conduct elections 7.5 years into his 8-year tenure? Why was it mischievously done to procure delegates for APC? And when it didn't work, when God intervened with one man with God, they went to AA, all of them, became campaign directors, got government vehicles as campaign vehicles, which they are still in possession of, to campaign for an AA candidate for governorship election. And when they lost, they were listed as witnesses at the tribunal, listed as the witnesses at every court. They filed the cases in court, more than 4. About 3 has been dismissed, except this one that is pending on the Court of Appeal now. So they should wait for the Court of Appeal to decide the matter or do what is politically necessary by trying to reach the present government and recognizing that there is a government in place in Imo State. You cannot continue behaving as if you are not a law-abiding citizen of Imo State, operating from Abuja to terrorize the peaceful Imo people, and then we all consider and clap for you and wait for you to do what you wish.
Okay, two things now. Two issues now.
8 years ago.
Right, 2 issues now. Mr. Honorable Bachu, well, he has raised this issue of your party affiliations time and again, saying that you joined the party and now you're back in the APC. Do you want to clear the air on that briefly?
Yes, I want to clear the air on that. Yes, I want to clear the air on that. Yes, I want to clear the air on that.
Air is yours to clear now.
I want to ask Onuegbu, who is more of APC, does he have his party membership card as he speak? He doesn't have it. I have my party membership card. I can produce my party membership card on demand. Is Onuegbu still asking or still saying that when our president, the anti-corruption Caesar, came to Owerri Imo State during the campaign period in 2019, he said, vote across party line. Is he equally saying that the president was that vote across party line? Is he equally saying that the president is not a member of APC? I am a member of APC. As I speak, Onuegbu does not even know the ward chairman of APC in his ward. He doesn't know it because he is an APC by blood, by thoughts, and by thinking. That is to tell you.
How you tested his blood and his thoughts to know that he's that's quite interesting.
Blood, but he's APC by thinking, and
once again you say that as though you've done a blood test.
PDP by blood.
All right, but let me just take up this issue of negotiation.
He's not a member of APC.
Right, briefly, let me take up the issue of negotiation just as we wind down on this.
Party membership card here with me.
Just a moment. Just a moment.
I'm a member of APC, and right. To crown it all,
just a moment. Let's wind this down because he mentioned negotiation. Are you willing to negotiate with the government in any sense?
The government of Imo State is very unfair to us. Remember, we were in Abuja January 14th when the Supreme Court gave a landmark judgment, ushering in APC government in Imo State. We were in Abuja and we all celebrated. We were 25 local government chairmen that came to Abuja. We came and when the judgment was given, we celebrated the judgment. We went to His Excellency's house in Maitama where he lives. We all celebrated.
The question is really simple.
When there was a review, we equally came to...
Honorable Bachu, just a very quick one so that we can wrap this all up. Just a moment.
Yes.
Are you willing to negotiate with the government of the day? It's a pretty simple question. Are you still there?
We are members of the same party. The government is APC.
Okay. So, in other words, you are willing to resolve this conversation. You are willing to resolve this issue at a round table with the governor.
Okay, all right. A lot of entreaties.
Okay.
We have written to the governor. There is nothing we have not done. Even Onuegbu himself.
Right.
His brother is acting Agon chairman.
So we do expect to see some form of resolution right after this. But gentlemen, we would like to thank you so much. This has been quite eye-opening. Honorable Bachu, Executive Chairman, Isialambana, Local Government Area of Imo State, as well as Honorable Inaya Onuegbu, the Commissioner for Lands, Imo State, legal practitioner, and a former local government chairman. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your thoughts. And as well as